Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, this noontime, July 26, 2025, daily cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, gold, and silver bullion update. And if you remember, as the Jabroni killers, you would have known the other day we made an asset purchase of palladium. And I wish I would have obviously bought more. I thought I had a little more time because I want to buy more. And the next dip this has, I will buy more. But you can see palladium's up 6.47% today. You can see it's running extremely hard now. And Jabroni Killers, it's as cheap as $3.99 a month. Video description and/or pin comment. You would have known about this trade. This is another one of my assets that I've started now to accumulate. And you can see I should have been accumulating it as I've been watching it for a couple of months now. Teeter between about where it's at now and about $850. But you can see palladium runs in it's a rare earth metal and mineral metal. It's a industrial application. And that, along with geopolitical uproar, because where this thing is mined at, that can have a drastic effect on the price, along with inflation. But it doesn't run like traditional inflation heads like gold or silver or other commodities like oil, wheat, copper, nickel, things like that. You can see it went on its last great bull run from about 2016 all the way up until 2022, where we had about a 5x return. And because usually this is more expensive than gold, you can see in 2016, this was at $441 an ounce, coming off of a bear market, where before that it was at about $1,000 in 2014. And you can see this went from about $457 to, what is that, $3,396 about. It went up 651%. And that was after the last bull run went from about $159 all the way up at the end in about 2011 with that commodity bull market. It went up 440%. In a two cycle bull run, it went up 20x, right? And now you can see what's happened. It's had a couple of big dump cycles, right? It had one dump cycle right before a big bull run where it went down about 72%. It had another big dump cycle, or smaller, shorter lived, but another one of 48% there between 2014 and 2016. And then we had another one that peaked out of the last bull run in 2022 in March. And then we've come all the way down 76.39%. And this is actually supposed to be up there because that's the support. And you can see that's where we're riding on. And I'm thinking this is going to have a phenomenal run. And you can see a metal that's already out ahead of it is platinum, right? Platinum's been on an extravagant run recently. And you can see, let's get out of that. I don't know why it won't let me zoom out. Let's go into the monthly time frame. You can see platinum's another one, more of a history. You can see platinum is the one that's historically more expensive than gold. You can see in 2008, at the end of that one, it was at $2,354. Then it had a big dump, came all the way down to $728, had a big rally in after the final peak of the commodity rally, but didn't make a new high. And then that essentially put in the high back here at $2,354 in February of 08. And we were in a bear market until COVID capitulation at 553. And now you can see platinum from the COVID low, but more specifically from the recent breakout. And you can see this nice consolidation it had there. And now the breakout, it's went in the last 2 months, it's up 61%. And I think it's about to take out its old high, just like gold did, because usually this is higher than gold. And I think platinum's just at the infancy of its next leg of the bull market. Same thing with palladium, but palladium and platinum are more highly volatile, and they are more have more investor risk. But I think it's a high risk, high reward, and I think now is the time to be purchasing said asset. If we scroll across into the cryptocurrencies, we'll see the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin's been trading in this rising channel for quite some time. But one thing with palladium and platinum, it's a high risk. I'm not a financial advisor. These are only my personal assets on my way to becoming an asset millionaire that I buy and hold long term. I'm almost a decade into buying commodities and mining stocks. So I'm just sharing what I do, and we are on our journey together. And that's another reason to be a member of Jabroni Killers, to be asset millionaires via real estate, 401k, study investing, gold and silver bullion, mining stocks, and cryptocurrencies, along with cash, right? You always got to have some cash. That way you can purchase new assets. You can see the Bitcoin price is sitting here in this rising wedge. And something that's very significant is we've been in this rising wedge, a rising channel, ever since the capitulation after the double top of the COVID blow off top. But we've been, again, having falling volume, right? But the price keeps rising. But usually that eventually has to come back on itself, even after years and years and years of going up with falling volume. Usually that has to come back down, and you can see in this case it would make sense because it's in a rising channel, and those are bullish continuation patterns but bearish reversal after they exhaust the pattern out. And I think that's what we have to watch out for. And if we look at in the daily time frame, you can see we're still sitting and struggling just above the critical 50-day moving average. The 100-day moving average is just below that, and the 200-day moving average is sitting just below a critical 97 horizontal support and just above a critical 90,000 support. And that's what we're watching. And you can see this a little bit better in the 4-hour time frame. You can see where we're at now. Let's get out of that and zoom out for you to make this a little more clear. You can see we've had, after we've hit this recent all-time high and potential top, we had a dump, a little rally and a dump, a little rally and a local capitulation, and a big rally, then a big dump, then a big rally, but lower than this previous rally. And all these are lower than the last. Then you had a nice dump, mid-ground pump, a big dump, and then another local capitulation that took you right down to the 100-day moving average and the uptrending support. And then you had a ferocious rally. But now you're starting to see the first few in the 4-hour time frame turning red after we had a day and a half, almost 2 days of straight green. Could this be a rounding top like here, like there, like now, and like C, right? Could this be the rounding top, and it's going to start to trade back down and come down and retest again this 100-day moving average and this uptrending lower support before threatening potentially to break out of it? That's what we're watching out for right here, and that's what we're going to get into tonight in a video where, yes, I'll be live in person on my new video screen that XRP Future Millionaire gave us. We're going to have a very in-depth update tonight. We got to get really on board. We got to get into the commodity purchases. We got to get into what I feel like is going on in the short term. Jabroni Killer members, it's a must. You've been on top of that. You would have known that I purchased palladium a few days ago. They're still very cheap. I think this thing's going to go through the 2,000 again, 3,000, and eventually back up to 4,000. My planned purchase was about $3,000 to $4,000 total dollars. We're at 1,300 because that was just my first buy. I should have maybe went half in, but every time I do that, the price has a 10 to 15% initial correction. But of course, this time it has an initial 6% pump. If we go into some of these altcoins, I want to take a look at the Algo. In this update, really want to look at the altcoins. You can see we still got rejected. We're going to look at these in the daily time frame. You can see we're still below all the major moving averages. We got rejected by that critical 20 cents. And as you do know, we have our initial target of 10 cents now, as we are extremely bearish. And you know, if you're below all three of these moving averages, you're bearish. If you're below this critical 25 cent or the bottom part of this red resistance box, you're bearish, and you're super short term to medium term bearish when you're below 20. And now you got pumped the first time, failed the rejection, and confirmed it as support. Still, you can see it hit resistance, came to support, and came back up. Now we came back to major support and broke it, wicked back up and hit it beautifully and got rejected, which could be signifying this is a confirmed flip. If we slip right here, this double bottom low, it's a confirmed flip to resistance, major resistance, which is a market structure change in the short term, and that'll drive the price quickly down to 10 cents. And then we would have to potentially watch for something lower. If you want to avoid this, you got to immediately turn this around, get back on top of this 19.5 cents, let the moving averages trade underneath you, and then try to squeeze on top of them and start to build a base, right? So that's what we're looking like in the Algo. The XCN's a similar story. The XCN's been on a big downturn ever since it had its 50x move, essentially, back in back in the Donald Trump pump. And then it peaked out in January and early February. And then we identified in the 4-hour time frame a head and shoulders with an initial target at the top part of this purple trading zone at 0.01499. And then it came down to that. And then we said, if it breaks this area, it's going to come down to the 0.00795, because that's the way these support and resistance box work. And then it held it and then pumped up. And we said, if it pumps up, first rejection point. If it breaks it, second rejection point. If it came up to, and then if it got rejected by here, you would have to stay above this 0.0149 and get above this 0.022 to stay bullish. If not, it would keep getting rejected like it did. Eventually the wall of buyers and support would get broken. It would slip down into this 200-day moving average. And if it can't stay below, if it can't get back above and it stays below that purple trading box, you can see in the shorter time frame here the last couple of days, it did rally back above it, but you can see it's in the thick of the overhead moving averages. It looks like it just had a bearish cross. You can see it bounced off of, we don't want to buy that, a technical moving level, which is the 200-day moving average in the daily. And then if we go into the hour time frame, you can see right as it gets into the 50 and 100, it gets knocked down. And this is the critical time now. Can it hold this as support? It has to hold the top part of this purple trading zone as support. If not, it's going to slip back into here, slip to 200 in the daily, eventually slip this regional low that you double bottomed off locally, and you'll drive very, very quickly if you get back into here and confirm below the 200-day and the bottom part of this darker purple zone. It'll shoot you down to here very, very quickly, right? If you want to get bullish, just like the other coin, you got to stay on top of this purple trading zone, get back on top of the moving averages in the daily, and then try to work your way back this way. But right now, the market forces are very bearish, and the market sentiment is bearish. The XDC is the same thing. You had a little bit of a swing low. If we zoom out of here into the daily, you know we're in the same situation. The first mover advantage got you this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern back here at December, January, and February. We told you the price was coming down. We put that, the top part of the orange trading zone, as a technical target, and nobody else had that as a call, and that was a jabroni killer call. That's another reason to join the first mover in Truth, Trust, and Education. It was calling for a 73.62% from the top side, which was an industry only, because we're here for the retail trader. It's down at current price 63.47%. We gave it simple, easy to understand technical analysis. We haven't wavered after the call was made. All of this has happened. The call was made just on the XRP, the Bitcoin, all these calls. None of this had happened yet. That was all speculative, and now it became the present, then the recent past, and now the past, right? And you can see we haven't changed our call on any of these coins, and we still believe it's coming down there. The same as DGB, using the same sort of technical analysis back in the same time frame. You can see we have that topping out pattern. We put this as our technical target, the 0.0056. We should really change that. We shouldn't have to. We have this yellow first initial critical support area. You got the overhead moving averages that have been bearish and trending down. We had a mid-ground pump back like you would expect off of this area of about the 0.008 level, played a critical role of bouncing the price. You can see all the bouncing that it had up there. It played critical, but we maintained where we thought this was going to go even after we had a horizontal symmetrical triangle. We still maintained we were coming down to this red 0.00560 because it had to fulfill a technical target, and you can see it's broken down past there. And as long as it's below this critical area right here and these overhead resistances locally right in there, this is coming down, and this was a solid call and another industry first call. The same thing, and another reason to become, I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging, Jabroni Killer members, double top, mountain double top, local neckline from the top to the local neckline to the breakout got us to 15 cents. And that call again was made when the price action was up here, right? So that was an industry only and first call on Hbar, where everybody else, just like the other coins, had this price skyrocketing besides a local 5 or 10 or 15% correction. We had it coming to the 15 cents, and then on the way down we identified it could come down to the 9 to 10 cent level, and now you might be confirming this as a major resistance level up here at the light blue resistance box. You can see it came back up to it. The overhead moving averages are extremely bearish on it. We've had the bearish crosses. We've had the golden bearish cross. The long-term moving average is on top. The short-term moving average is on the bottom. You can see we had a bearish confirmation right here on the classic where you have a bottom here, then you come up, retest it, come up to this major area it's trying to keep as support, but now it's going to confirm it as resistance, gets the classic hook nose bearish reversal pattern, and it drives it to the bottom side, and we have our underneath target of 0.09 cents. The same thing with LCX. It's been driving to the downside. It hit off our 0.09 target. Again, a target that we had when this price was sitting back in here, sitting back in there in early to mid-January. We had this target when it was at 25 to 30 cents, coming back to 10 cents. It bounced off it. You can see the overhead moving averages are extremely bearish, of course. And if you're trying to get bullish, you have to get on top of the 50 in the daily. You have to get on top of this 14 cents, and then you have to kick it to the upside. If not, you're going to sell this back off very quickly. And if you come back down to this 9 cents, and you can't hold this 9 cents, you would slip down here, and that would be your next underneath target, would be the bottom part of this yellow support and resistance area, right? Like the channel, subscribe. We'll have another video here in a little while with the XRP and the XLM and the Ethereum. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow J.